Welcome back to SourceFedNERD. I'm Filup Molina.
And I'm Whitney Moore, and yesterday we got some confirmation about all kinds of stuff regarding the DC Cinematic Universe. And not everybody is thrilled about it, but let's jump in.
Okay, just some quick stuff out of the way in what feels like it was already confirmed a million times. Deadshot is getting his own Will Smith starring spinoff, so get excited for that. Because, you know, like, what am I? Some kind of Deadshot?
Yeah, and then the Suicide Squad sequel is definitely in the works, but we kind of already knew that. And Justice League 2 is being pushed back to make some more room for the Batman movie, which is just confirmed that it's going to be shooting this spring.
Can I just say that of all the upcoming DC movies, that's the one that has me excited. I'm not going to pretend I'm loving the choices that DC's making constantly, but Ben Affleck plays a pretty solid Bruce Wayne, and he's co-writing that thing with Jeff Johns, and before you guffaw at that...
I was about to guffaw at it.
I felt it. You gotta remember, Affleck wrote The Town.
Good.
And Gone Baby Gone.
Very good.
And Good Will Hunting.
Oh my god, so good.
Okay, but he did win an Oscar for that. And then Jeff Johns, that's our DC boy. Any concerns that Affleck might not fully understand what makes Batman Batman are totally quelled under the guidance of Johns.
Right. Also, rumor has it that this movie is going to be a bit of a detective story.
About damn time.
It might be the Under the Red Hood storyline or Hush, and both of those are fantastic takes on the mystery elements that often get tossed aside in Batman movies, but are some of the best parts of the character himself.
I love me Detective Batman, which I don't know why he doesn't call himself that. Hello, I'm Detective Batman. What seems to be the problem?
And finally, Harley Quinn news. So the biggest bit of news we got in this flood of DC updates is that not only is the Harley Quinn spin-off movie a go, but it's going to be a Gotham City Sirens movie. Wow! Gotham City Sirens, by the way, is the comic book series that starred Harley, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy, Harley's sometimes girlfriend.
Previous rumors had suggested that the movie could be called Birds of Prey, the name of a superheroine team led by former Batgirl/Oracle, Barbara Gordon, also sometimes Catwoman.
Also Huntress, and also Black Camaro.
The Black Camaro.
Also Black Canary, but by picking Sirens, that likely gives Warner Brothers more room to develop their take on Harley Quinn and make her into the mega property that they're hoping she'll become.
Desperate that she'll become. There's no word if they'll be up against the Birds of Prey, though. That actually would be real fun.
Now here's the thing, a lot of that sounds dope.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. Those properties are fantastic. DC is also officially putting a movie on their slate starring 3 women, and that's to be applauded.
Ooh, clap, clap, clap. But the other half of this announcement is that David Ayer is going to be directing this thing. And that doesn't have everyone quite so thrilled.
We wanted this to be a conversation, so I actually asked for reactions to this news on my Twitter @Fimo, and it's pretty varied. First off, let's remind people that David Ayer has directed fantastic films and has a knack for war films that probably puts him up there with the greatest directors in that genre.
Right, @Waterboy for Hire is happy about it, and I agree with him on the points that End of Watch was great and Fury was solid too. It was real intense and appropriately gritty.
Yeah, definitely. But I can't say that he's totally proven that he's got this supervillain, fun yet intense thing figured out, and I'll immediately point out that the issues I had with Suicide Squad might not have been his fault. The studio famously meddled with that movie so much that even the actors in the movie did not fully recognize the final edit of the movie. @Cheyenne_JJ backs up that specific sentiment, saying what made Squad such a loss was not the directing, but in his opinion, it was the script.
Right, and Dandy HNO Sore agrees that this would only be good if Ayer's liberty in directing is guaranteed. So sure, maybe the issues with Suicide Squad might not be Ayer's fault. Except Ayer has gone on to say that the movie is exactly what he wants it to be, and while for some people the movie was fine, it definitely is worrisome that he seems to at least publicly think it was executed perfectly.
So when you add to that maybe one of the most controversial issues people have with this thing is the way that Harley Quinn was portrayed.
As an abuse victim who never rises above her role as an object of her torment or sometimes desire.
Right, that's actually something that was part of the extensive re-editing, trying to tone down just how weak Harley was and how much the Joker just batted her around.
So yeah, all that, and then you think about how this guy is going to portray 2 more amazing female figures from the comics, Poison Ivy and Catwoman. It's a little worrisome. Tweeting Raven kind of nails that point, saying that Sirens need to have more finesse, and nothing in Ayer's career suggests he can do sexy while also empowering a female cast.
By the way, this is not to say that those characters weren't overly sexualized in the comics, because they definitely were. Also, those 2 on the animated series were basically porn for me as a child.
Gross, but almost all female heroes and villains are overly sexualized in the comics.
Exactly.
That's one thing we can maybe think about adjusting as we bring these characters to life, because as real people on screen, it actually cements that this is what women in this universe are like. Like if they made that Barbie movie and she still has huge titters and no stomach, then it's like, oh, okay, they're reaffirming that this is a realistic body type because this real human being on screen somehow has it. But even they're smart enough to not do that, part of why they cast Amy Schumer.
Yeah, and to be clear, the issue is not just sexualization. Like tweeting Raven said, it's the fact that this director, he hasn't really nailed his take on female characters in any of his movies.
Right, moving Harley Quinn aside for a sec, Tana isn't really much of a character so much as she's just another of Rick Flag's weapons.
Yeah. The women in Fury are pretty much just objects of desire, and you might say that was war and that was true of that time, and hey, you know what? You actually might be right. But it's not like End of Watch or Training Day, which Ayer wrote, have any memorable female characters either.
So look, it's not to hate so much on David Ayer, it's just that there's a reason why Marvel has been adamant about finding a female director for Captain Marvel.
And even DC did know to get a female director for Wonder Woman, which, by the way, from all signs, Patty Jenkins is killing it on that movie.
It's not easy to nail a take on these female characters, and it's not the fault of these new writers or directors. The characters were underwritten for decades and decades, and it's a lot harder to make them fully formed humans when you bring them to the screen if you know you're not a lady yourself. Or also if you're not at least super familiar with writing and creating complex female characters already, like Joss Whedon, for instance.
All this said, I actually want to go back to that point about sexualization just for a second, because I'm not actually totally against that.
Maybe you're not. You fucking perv.
Wow. Trying to help your gender. Maybe it's when it's sexualization as an object for a man to either bang or beat up on, then yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror stuff pushes sexualization way past that and into a place where it feels like the women themselves are empowered characters that just so happen to exist in my sex nightmares.
Sex nightmares, nice. True dat. Sexy can be awesome. Tarantino women are also seductive as hell, but just as complex and interesting as the male characters.
I'm just gonna wish David Ayer luck because I like a lot of the stuff he's done, and this is just gonna be real hard, but I'm not gonna pretend that it could be solved in a day or that even hiring more women would totally fix it.
Right, and to their credit, the screenplay will be written by a woman and Margot Robbie is executive producing,
But it's just not gonna be easy. It's gonna be uphill. So again, best of luck. And you know what? I hope he does nail it. And then he expands his abilities as a director because that guy's got a ton of potential.
Absolutely.
Now, regarding all the anger some of you might have because we touched on a feminist issue, come on guys, this is not about being a feminist or a social justice warrior or whatever. Black Panther is set in Africa with a nearly all African-American cast, so they hired an African-American director who totally understands his own community to direct it. Like if this were a movie about ninjas, you just want a guy who can direct ninjas well. When you have movies about cars that talk and blow up, you want this talking explosion machine to direct them. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to be a member of the group that directs the group. It just has to be someone that really gets that group and has maybe shown that they really get it. That's all we want.
Oh. Well done, Philip.
Thank you.
That was great. I agree.
And I used up my word quota in that bit, so you're...
Oh, I got you, bud. Okay, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Graze.com, for being the snack company that we both wanted and needed. Their foods combine super wholesome ingredients with flavors we love, and they got a big ol' imagination, and they come up with over 100 really awesome snacks.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna go over my word quota real quick to say this. It's legit. Like, each snack had a nutritionist approve it, and you can see like a little badge on there that says that there's no GMOs or trans fats or artificial like fakey colors or flavors or whatever. They're just real food, but in snack form.
So go to Graze.com and enter code SFNERD to get a free sampler box. They even make a special customized box for you when you tell them what flavors you like.
Hell yeah, all bacon.
You are a literal dog person.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like 100% dog from like the mouth in.
All right, make sure to give this video a share. I think there was some good stuff in it. And subscribe to this channel for a lot of our awesome Christmas content that'll be coming out for the rest of the month.
Let us know down in the comments what part of the DC news you're the most excited about.
And what cucks we are for liking women.
Also, quick shout out to those of you that helped us discuss this on Twitter and hit me up at Fimo. Hopefully we can keep doing more featuring your thoughts in the future, so thank you. But yeah, otherwise.
Bye-bye.
The tone of the story is that it's dark. Like at Future Boy, Chris Taylor says, it's heart-stopping and dark. The single biggest cultural event of the year that most people have kind of forgotten about is Pokemon Go.